Right now, somewhere in your pocket or on the table beside you, a small glass rectangle is waiting. You already know what it is. You glance at it without thinking. You unlock it. Nothing is there. You do it again 10 minutes later. Most people call this a bad habit. The real answer is far stranger. Your brain is not checking your phone because it is broken. It is checking your phone because for nearly 200,000 years, checking your environment kept you alive. Think about that for a second. 200,000 years of scanning, listening, watching the tree line, noticing when something moved that shouldn't have moved. That instinct didn't disappear when smartphones arrived. It just found a new tree line. To understand why you can't put the phone down, you have to go back to a savanna in East Africa, long before agriculture, long before cities, long before anyone had a word for boredom. Early humans lived in small bands, usually no more than 50 people. Survival depended on information. Where is the water this season? Did that rustling in the grass mean food or danger? Who in the group seemed upset and why? The humans who paid close attention to small changes in their surroundings tended to live longer. The ones who tuned it all out tended not to. This is called environmental monitoring, and it isn't optional. It's wired into the oldest parts of your brain. Your amygdala, the almond-shaped structure tucked deep in your skull, exists specifically to flag anything new, anything uncertain, anything that might matter. It doesn't wait for permission. It fires first and asks questions later. Here's the part most people miss. The amygdala doesn't distinguish between a predator in the grass and a notification on a screen. To this ancient piece of machinery, both are the same kind of signal. Something changed. Pay attention now. Researcher Robert Sapolsky, who spent decades studying stress and behavior in primates, has described how the body's alert systems evolved for sudden physical threats. Sapolsky's work suggests something almost funny, if it weren't so true. A zebra's stress response shuts off the moment the lion gives up the chase. Yours doesn't. Yours can be triggered by a glowing screen that never actually chased you at all. So why does checking feel good instead of just feeling alert? That's where dopamine comes in. Dopamine isn't the pleasure chemical people assume it is. It's the anticipation chemical. It spikes not when you get the reward, but right before you find out whether you got one. Neuroscientist Wolfram Schultz, working with primates in the 1990s, found that dopamine neurons fire most strongly in moments of uncertain reward. Not guaranteed reward, uncertain reward. A monkey pressing a lever that sometimes gives juice and sometimes doesn't will press that lever far more obsessively than one that always gets juice. Read that again. Uncertainty was the trigger, not satisfaction. Now think about your phone. Every time you unlock it, you don't know what's waiting. Maybe a message, maybe nothing. Maybe a like, a comment, a headline that changes everything. Your phone is structurally a lever that sometimes gives juice. You are not weak for checking it. You are a primate, behaving exactly the way primates behave around unpredictable rewards. Psychologist B.F. Skinner demonstrated this principle decades before smartphones existed. Skinner studied something called variable ratio reinforcement, using pigeons and a simple lever. Pigeons rewarded on a random schedule pecked far more often and far more persistently than pigeons rewarded every single time. Slot machines were built around this exact discovery, so whether anyone admits it openly or not, were notification systems. You weren't lied to exactly, you were just placed inside a system your evolutionary instincts were never built to resist. Here's the counterintuitive twist. The behavior that feels like distraction is actually attention working perfectly. Too perfectly. Your attention system evolved to prioritize novelty, social information, and potential threat above almost everything else. Because in the ancestral environment, ignoring those things could get you killed or excluded from the group. And exclusion from the group was, for most of human history, a death sentence in itself. That brings up something else worth sitting with. Social information mattered more to early humans than almost any other category of input. Knowing who was angry at whom, who had gained status, who might be a threat to your standing in the group, this wasn't gossip. It was survival data. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar has argued that human language itself may have evolved largely as a tool for tracking social relationships. what he calls a kind of vocal grooming, replacing the physical grooming chimpanzees used to maintain alliances. Dunbar's research suggests humans are built at a deep level to monitor the social standing of everyone around them constantly. Now look at what's actually on your phone: messages, comments, likes, who said what about whom. It isn't an accident that social platforms feel almost impossible to ignore. They are speaking directly to the exact mechanism Dunbar described. Except now the group isn't 50 people in a band. It's potentially millions of strangers, all generating social signals at once, all day, every day. Your ancient brain was never designed to process that volume of social information. It has no off switch for it, because for 200,000 years there was no need for one. The group was small, the information was finite. Eventually you ran out of new things to monitor and your brain could rest. That moment of running out almost never happens anymore. Here is where the modern mirror comes in. You are not addicted to your phone. You are responding with total evolutionary logic to a device engineered to exploit the exact systems that once kept your ancestors alive. The vigilance that once meant survival now means a sore neck and a notification badge. The social monitoring that once meant belonging now means doom scrolling through people you've never met. None of this is a character flaw. It's biology, meeting an environment biology never anticipated. So what do you actually do with that? Understanding the mechanism doesn't switch it off, but it does something almost as useful. It removes the shame from the loop. Once you see that your brain is reacting to uncertainty and social signal exactly the way it evolved to, you can start working with that system instead of fighting it blindly. Some researchers point to simple structural changes: turning off badges, removing apps from the home screen, putting the phone in another room during focused work. Not because willpower is useless, but because the ancestral brain responds far more to what's immediately visible than to abstract intentions about self-control. There's something almost comforting in that. You are not failing some modern test of discipline. You are a Pleistocene-era nervous system, doing exactly what it was built to do, inside a world built by people who study that nervous system far more carefully than you ever will, which brings everything back to where this started. Tonight, the small glass rectangle will sit beside you again. You'll feel the pull to check it. Maybe you'll resist, maybe you won't. But the next time you catch yourself reaching for it without quite knowing why, remember what's actually happening underneath. It isn't a notification pulling you in. It's 200,000 years of survival instinct. Still scanning the grass, still watching for movement, still waiting to find out if this time, finally, there's something out there worth knowing.